Hi everyone, I'm Connie Roberts.
And I'm Jim Skukoza.
It's that time of year where we're moving from inside to outside.
And we're going to show you some great tips on how to be successful in your yard.
It's coming up next. Jim, so we're at the garden center. First thing, people are going to come in and they're going to say, what do I got to do first?
Well, now the winter's over and we're getting ready for spring here. Everybody's excited about beginning to plant. They love to see the color and the flowers, flowering trees and the shrubs. And we're excited about that too. But before you do that, there are certain things we need to do first, and we need to prep those areas. So I'm going to take you inside, I'm going to show you some products and give you some ideas on how to get those areas ready to go. Okay?
Jim, well, I'm really excited about getting planting, but what do I have to do first?
Well, there's a lot you have to do first. You really want to kind of prep. Just like you spring clean your home, you need to spring clean your yard as well. Same concept. So if you have planting beds, first thing you want to do is you want to get out there and get out all the winter debris. Over the winter, pieces from trees may have fallen in, broken branches. You want to do pruning. You get yourself a good sharp pair of pruners and go along all the plant material that you have, prune off any dead wood, prune off any extended branches that shouldn't be there, clean things up. Then you want to rake the beds out entirely. You don't want to leave any debris left in your beds because that's just going to bring on more disease and other issues that's going to cause a problem with fungus down the road. So you want to get all the debris out, get everything cleaned up really nice and well.
Do you want to use like a bamboo rake or a metal rake?
You can use a bamboo rake, you can use a spring metal rake, whatever you're comfortable with. Some people have a preference. It really doesn't matter. The idea is to just get it thoroughly cleaned out, okay? So there's no debris and you can look back and say, okay, now I'm ready to start thinking about planting. Then it's a matter of hopefully you've done a little bit of homework over the winter maybe, thought about some of the plants you'd like to add to your gardens, or if it's a new area, what else you need to do to prep that area. If it's a new space, then obviously we live here in the Poconos, there's not a lot of good topsoil to plant, and it's very difficult to do. So if you're creating a larger bed, typically what we do in the landscape is we're going to excavate out some of that bad material, put in good topsoil. It may not be practical for some homeowners, so they may just dig a hole maybe much larger than they need for the plant, and then add some topsoil and incorporate some other materials in there so that the plant will thrive. Great idea is like some fertilizer, okay? Hollytone is a great little product. It's all organic. It's not gonna burn the plant. We like to use this in our plantings. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your plant, dig that hole, and incorporate some good topsoil, maybe some cow manure. You can use Hollytone, maybe some peat moss, so that when that plant begins to grow and those roots start growing out, they've got some good soil to work into.
So Jim, I don't really know that much about fertilizer, and I kind of get scared like I might put too much or not enough.
Well, there are different fertilizers for different uses, and you can burn with some fertilizers, so you do have to be careful. Like I said, with the Hollytone, it's great because it's all organic, and it's a very slow release, and it has a very low nitrogen content, which is not going to affect in terms of burning the plants at all. So this is great for planting. You can also use this when existing plants where you want to broadcast or put around the base of the plant, and that'll feed over a period of time very safely. Okay. Sometimes people use a liquid fertilizer like a Miracle Grow or Mere Acid. Great product, okay? But this is liquid, which means it gives the plant a very quick boost of fertilizer, and then it dissipates and it's gone. So it doesn't feed over a long period of time unless you do this on a regular basis. Okay. Great for flowers, great for pushing some new blooms, and sometimes to help rejuvenate a plant that's not really doing well, you can give it the liquid fertilizer and that's going to give it a boost. But it's not going to fertilize over an extended period of time. So you need to use more of a granular fertilizer for that.
Yeah. And if people have more questions, you always have help here.
Oh, absolutely. Come down to the garden center here. The girls and the guys can really help you out and give you the right product for what you're trying to do.
Jim, what are fertilizer stakes?
Well, they're just that. They're concentrated fertilizer stakes, as you can see. And what you do, these are perfect for when you have existing, particularly trees, in the plantings already. So what you're going to do with these is on the drip line of the tree, in other words, the outside perimeter of the branching. That's basically where the roots are, the outside roots are, the feeder roots, and that's what you want to feed. You take these and you pound these into the ground around the perimeter of the tree. So we have some stakes here for fruit trees, we have some stakes for flowering trees and shade trees, and it's a great way to give them a season-long fertilizer boost without much effort on your part. Okay?
Oh, that's a good tip.
Okay, so now you've cleaned your beds, you got everything prepped to go, you're thinking about planting, but what's the one thing that people really hate to do in the yard?
Weed?
Weeding.
I hate it.
Good question. Good answer, I should say. So we want to try to prepare for that, and there's a couple of things you can do. The first thing you need to do, if there are any existing weeds in those beds, you need to get them out. They need to be pulled out, ripped out, whatever you're going to do, okay? You can use a product like Roundup, which is a liquid weed control. All that does, it's going to kill the weed that's growing currently, and it has to be actively growing in order for it to work. It translocates the chemical down through the leaf surface into the roots, kills the entire plant. Has no effect on the soil, so it's not going to control any new weeds that grow.
Okay.
So, in particular this time of the year, you want to get all the weeds out of the bed and then think about how you're going to control them down the road. So once you're done with the planting, you have a couple options. You can use a weed fabric, which you would lay down on the planting bed before you put your mulch down. Okay? Or you can use something like this. This is a granular product. It's called Preen. And basically this is a chemical weed preventer. It puts down a chemical barrier on the surface of the ground, and it doesn't allow the weeds to germinate. So you would take this and you would basically sprinkle this on the soil and then put your mulch over the top. Very effective, and it's safe for most of the plants that you would find here in the garden center. There are certain things you don't want to use it with, but it does work well. It's a season-long product, but you do have to do that every year. Whereas with the weed fabric, you generally do this once, and then you just have to replenish your mulch. Once you think about that weed control, then the final step, of course, after you do your planting is doing that mulch and the finish work.
Right.
But that comes after the planting.
All right. Now we got wild critters out there that like to eat my flowers. What do I do?
Well, the Poconos is famous for our deer. Okay, so that's always an issue, and it's a real challenge for us in the landscape to try to find plants that will thrive alongside the deer. Very difficult. The palette is very small. There are things you can do. We have repellents that you can put out there, liquid fence for the deer out there, both very effective, but you do have to do them on a regular basis. But the deer are creatures of habit, so if you can do that regularly for a while, sometimes you can change their habits so they don't show up in your garden often. But the best thing you want to do if you're in a deer-prone area is select plants that are not really susceptible to deer damage, and we can help you with that as well. So there is one other area in the spring that you want to think about, and that's the lawn. Okay? Because everybody loves a green, lush lawn.
True.
And it takes a little bit of work, but you can get that. And you do that simply by, once again, you're going to rake out all those areas. Okay? Rake it hard, get all the debris out of the grass from the previous season. You're going to want to lime. Here in the Poconos, our soil tends to be very acidic. So you're going to have to lime. Generally, you can lime here spring and fall because you have to have the proper pH in order for any fertilizer that you put down to work. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay, so you want to lime, and then you want to pick a good season-long, high-quality lawn food that you can put down in the spring. If you have a weed issue, you can do weed and feed a little bit later on. A lot of people wait till the crabgrass is grown. They say, well, how do I control the crabgrass? Crabgrass is very difficult because that's something you want to try to control very early on in the season. Ideally, we like to tell people when you see the forsythia blooming, you should be putting crabgrass control down now. Once the crabgrass starts growing, that crabgrass control will have no effect on it whatsoever. Okay, then you're going to have to use a regular weed killer. It's a lot more difficult to control at that point. But the best solution for eliminating weeds in your lawn is a good, thick stand of turf. And the way you do that is constantly feeding it, liming, mowing it properly, watering it properly, and then the weeds can't compete with the grass that's growing. So that's the best way to do it. So this is another thing you want to think about.
Okay.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about how to select the proper plants for your landscape.
Looking for plants you can trust to create a beautiful, easy-to-maintain garden? All you have to do is look for the Proven Winners name to know you're getting the most distinctive plants on the market. That's because Proven Winners partners with the top plant breeders around the world to ensure varieties that are vigorous, healthy, vibrant, and unique. Chestnut Hill Nursery Garden Center employees are Proven Winners certified. Go to provenwinners.com to learn more about what makes Proven Winners plants different from the rest. Proven Winners plants at Chestnut Hill Nursery, Route 209, Broadheadsville.
Community, it's where we work.
It's where we play. It's where you'll find First Northern Bank and Trust, offering community banking services. First Northern Bank and Trust is a family-owned and operated bank. Our local decision makers offer fast approvals and customized financial solutions. Plus, we keep your money right here in the community, stimulating local economic growth and providing jobs for our friends and neighbors. First Northern Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Rehab. I play a house rehabber on TV, redesigning and flipping homes. But when I have a real house nightmare, I call the experts at RJ Groner.
Need an installation or repair? Call RJ Groner. We'll have one of our team members out to appraise the situation and get you up and running.
Customer service is our #1 priority. Whether it's an installation or emergency repair, call us at 570-421-7260.
Isn't it time for you to start enjoying your backyard just like you see in the magazines and on TV? Hi, I'm Jim Skakoza from Chestnut Hill Nursery, and we're here to help. For over 40 years, we've been creating beautiful landscapes for folks just like you. You can count on us to build it right the first time and create a long-lasting project that'll provide a lifetime of memories. Imagine a new patio, fire pit, or outdoor kitchen. Then complete the scene with amazing outdoor audio and lighting. Together we can dream it, design it, and our expert team can build it. So go to chnursery.com to set up your free consultation. Make this the season you turn those dreams into reality. Start planning that first party now.
Okay, Jim, it's now time to choose the plants, but there's so many to choose from. How do I know which one to get?
Well, that's why we're here to help, okay? So there are a lot of selections to choose from here at the Garden Center. And our girls can really help pick through what works best in your property. But you have to think about things. We have plants for sun, we have plants for shade, we have trees to give you shade, we have trees to give you color, we have shrubs that flower, we have deer-resistant plants. We have perennials, we have annuals, we have so many varieties and selections that you can choose from, but they're not all appropriate in the same place. So we want to make sure in the process of selecting your plants, we can show you what's going to work well. You know, we want you to be successful, okay? We have a very good relationship with our growers. We know our growers personally. We know how their plants are, how they do well in the area. You know, we're here almost 40 years, and so we know what works here. And we know what plants to avoid and what plants we shouldn't be putting in the garden because they're not going to survive the winters that we have here, or maybe they're not going to survive with the deer. So we try to give you that guidance as well.
So Jim, as a customer coming in, what kind of information do I need to have before I get here to you?
Well, that's a great question, because the more information you can provide us, the better we can do in helping you select the right plants for your planting, okay? So it's very helpful. First of all, give it a little bit of thought. What is it that you want to put in your garden? Obviously, people look through magazines, see pictures, visit other properties. Oh, I like that tree, I like that shrub. Jot it down. Go on the internet, take some notes. Okay, come in here with a list of plants that you really like. And then, more importantly, we're going to need to know where you're thinking about putting that. Do you have sun? Do you have shade? Is it in the woods? Is it out in the open? Do you have deer on the property? What are you trying to achieve with the plant? Is it an accent plant? Are you trying to create a border or a screen? You know, so we have plants for all those different uses.
Or even if you want fruit.
So we can do fruit trees if you want to do that. But the more information you provide us, the better job we can do for you. So bring that information. If you have pictures, it's great. If you know you're going to work in a certain area and you have some dimensions to work with, we can help you with the spacing of those plants. Because every one of these plants has not only different requirements in terms of growth, but they all grow at different rates, different final sizes, and we want to kind of incorporate that into the selection so that we don't give you a spruce tree, for example, that's going to grow 60 feet tall and you're going to put it in the corner of the house.
Right.
It's inappropriate. Even though it might look cute when it's small, it's not the place for that tree. So we're here to guide you through that process. So the more detailed information you can provide to us, the better we can do to help you select the right plants.
So Jim, I know people like to have color, but this one is like pointy. Ouch.
Yeah, well, this is a great plant. This is barberry, and again, we use a lot of this up here for a couple of reasons. First of all, everybody wants color, okay? Now you got to remember that anything that blooms, whether it's a tree or a shrub, typically is going to have a short blooming season. So whether it's an azalea or a rhododendron or a cherry tree, any of those items, they look great when they're in bloom. Everybody says, well, why can't they bloom all year? Well, they don't.
Yeah.
They just bloom for a short period of time and then they're gone. So then we use them in other ways in terms of structure in the landscape, etc. But there are other ways of getting color into the landscape, and a lot of it has to do with the foliage. So here we have two selections. This is a rosy gold barberry, and we have a spirea here, a gold mountain spirea. We also have a golden barberry. We have several selections of barberry here. The beauty of this is that you can get some lively color into the landscape and not worry about flowers, because they're going to look like this all season long.
Oh, nice.
Now they are deciduous, which means they'll lose their leaves. They won't have this color in the wintertime, but they will have color in the landscape the rest of the season. So it's a great way to achieve some color in there. That's one way. Now
so in
remember,
the winter you want to get some evergreens.
you want some evergreens, exactly. Let's walk down here and I'll show you some concepts. So back here we have a selection of, we have some holly here, that's an evergreen. We have some boxwood, very reliable plant. Again, something the deer are not going to eat, like the boxwood, the barberry rather. They won't eat the barberry. So you can get a lot of great color, you don't have to worry about the deer. Okay, boxwood, you don't have to worry about the deer. Now this is evergreen, it's going to be here all year round. The holly is good. Sometimes you got to watch where you plant holly because the deer, they will munch on that one, but they won't touch the boxwood. You come back here further, and we have a golden biota. Again, you can see the color in this, but this is an evergreen. Now this is going to draw up about 6-7 feet, nice shape to it. Okay. But you can bring some color. It's a nice plant to maybe put on a corner somewhere or a corner of a bed. Behind here we have dwarf Alberta spruce. Okay, another evergreen. It's a miniature spruce tree, used usually for accent, either in an entry or sometimes by the front porch, or maybe in an island bed or something like that. Okay. If you need more size because you're trying to create a screen or something, we have larger arborvitae. Or you can use spruce trees if it's further out in the yard. Spruce trees, blue spruce, Norway spruce, white pine, hemlock, those types of trees to give you that strong evergreen background behind plantings. So you want to think of plantings in terms of scale, what the property is, where it fits, and then when we do plantings in beds, particularly further away from the house, we try to do things in layers where we'll do a larger evergreen background, and then in front of that maybe some flowering shrubs, and then in front of that you can have some perennials or some low color shrubs.
Jim, I really do like the Rose of Sharon.
Yeah, it's a great plant. Doesn't look like much right now, but it's a beautiful summer flowering shrub. So let's talk about timing, because with flowering shrubs, you know, first thing you're going to see typically in the spring garden is your forsythia, the bright yellow flowers. Everybody loves it. Well, of course, they all say, well, why can't it flower like that all season long? Well, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is think about timing. There are so many different flowering shrubs that we can offer. From viburnums, we have a selection of viburnums behind us here. There's spirea, there's all different types of shrubs, and you all have various bloom times. So you could be pretty successful in getting blooms from early spring to late spring, midsummer sometimes in some cases. Here's a great plant right here. This is called ninebark. And the beauty of this is you got this great color in the foliage like we talked about earlier, but it also flowers. It gets like a little white pinkish flowers just starting to set here. You can see it here. And I think there's one over here that may have a little bit more, it's just starting to come out a little bit more over here. See this one? So that does get a little white flower, white to pink flower, but you get this beautiful fall color all through the season. It's got great fall color as well before it loses the leaves. So the flowering shrubs, there's a lot of selection to choose from there that give you as much color as you'd like to get, and you can space it in terms of the timing and then augment it with some of the other color shrubs that we talked about with foliage, and then of course annuals and perennials, and we're going to talk about that next.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about adding color and putting the finishing touches in your landscape.
Hi, I'm Donna Do-It-Yourself. I play a plumber on TV, fixing leaks and changing fixtures. But when I have a real plumbing problem, I call the experts at RJ Groner.
Clogged drains, water leaks, sewer line repairs. Plumbing problems are intimidating. RJ Groner is ready to help at home or at work to get the job done right.
Customer service is our #1 priority. Whether it's an installation or emergency repair, call us at 570-421-7260.
First Northern Bank & Trust is your local loan specialist for both personal and business needs. Our local decision makers offer fast approvals and customized financial solutions, helping you reach your goals. First Northern Bank and Trust combines friendly service with the latest technologies to make banking quick, easy, and convenient. We continue to grow in Carbon, Lehigh, Monroe, and Northampton counties, serving you with 11 local branches. First Northern Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Looking for plants you can trust to create a beautiful, easy-to-maintain garden? All you have to do is look for the Proven Winners name to know you're getting the most distinctive plants on the market. That's because Proven Winners partners with the top plant breeders around the world to ensure varieties that are vigorous, healthy, vibrant, and unique. Chestnut Hill Nursery Garden Center employees are Proven Winners certified. Go to provenwinners.com to learn more about what makes Proven Winners plants different from the rest. Proven Winners plants at Chestnut Hill Nursery, Route 209, Broadheadsville.
Isn't it time for you to start enjoying your backyard just like you see in the magazines and on TV? Hi, I'm Jim Skakoza from Chestnut Hill Nursery, and we're here to help. For over 40 years, we've been creating beautiful landscapes for folks just like you. You can count on us to build it right the first time and create a long-lasting project that'll provide a lifetime of memories. Imagine a new patio, fire pit, or outdoor kitchen. Then complete the scene with amazing outdoor audio and lighting. Together we can dream it, design it, and our expert team can build it. So go to chnursery.com to set up your free consultation. Make this the season you turn those dreams into reality. Start planning that first party now. All right, Connie, we're getting closer and closer to the fun part now, okay? So now we have all our plants in the ground. We've selected our trees and our shrubs and our evergreens and our color shrubs and all that kind of stuff, okay?
Woohoo!
But we still have some blank spots here and there, and we want to bring some additional color into the garden. And the way you do that is with perennials and annuals, okay? So, what's a perennial?
It's something that lasts or every year, comes back.
Very good. A perennial plant is something that you plant one time, okay? And it'll die to the ground in the winter and come back in the spring. An annual plant is something you need to replant every year.
Right.
Now, the one thing about perennials that people should know is that with perennials, they grow a very massive root system. So typically after 3 or 4 years in the garden, they should be dug up, divided, and replanted, given to friends, whatever you want to do. But every 3 or 4 years, you really need to do a little bit of maintenance on perennials. But there is a huge selection of perennials to choose from with all kinds of color ranges, all kinds of spatial requirements in terms of, and also in terms of light, whether it's shade, sunny, etc. But just like in the flowering, or the plants I should say, you have foliage perennials like hosta you see here. These are coral bells behind here, but they also get a flower. So most of the perennials will flower, but they're going to again have a limited bloom time. Some of the perennials do rebloom, but for the most part they're going to have one time when they're bloom. So spacing in terms of bloom time is really kind of important. You want to know that so that you can get a succession of color throughout the season. And also use plants with foliage, which are perennials, to give you that filler space.
Gotcha.
Okay? Now the last thing we're going to talk about is annuals. So
Okay.
let's go take a look.
All right. So this is the fun part. The annuals, they have the most color.
This is what you like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, real simple to plant too. So this is kind of one of those final touches. When you've got little spaces that you want to fill out maybe into an entryway, or you want to create a border along a walkway, that's where you want to start thinking about using annual flowers. So there's a lot of selection. Once again, it's a matter of what are you using it, where are you using it, do you have sun, do you have shade, what kind of height do you want, what kind of spread do you want on that plant, so we can pick the right annual for that space. Okay? But you can see here you've got a wide range of colors, marigolds and petunias and impatiens. It goes on and on and on. Geraniums, I mean, some of the old-time favorites that everybody loves to work with. And of course, don't forget, you can also use them in containers. So let's just look at some of those.
Okay. All right, Jim, I like my flower pots to be all nice, lots of color, just like this one.
Well, this is the fun stuff. I mean, literally, you can just play with this all day long, because what you want to do is think about an area that you want to just pop. You want to brighten it up. Maybe it's a space on the patio, maybe it's up on the front porch, maybe it's up on a deck or something, but you want to bring this color and liveliness into that area. Container planting is the way to go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to pick your container. Make sure you have something you like, whether it's a colored piece or whether it's a terracotta piece, something simple. and something that's going to fit the space. And then what do you want to do for color? So this is just a very simple example. You've got a nice bright pot. We've got nice bright flowers that are going to fill in this beautifully. After a couple of weeks out there in the sun, this thing is just going to be a massive color. And it takes very, very little maintenance, and we just have a blast working with this because there's no right or wrong. You can really just walk around the garden center, pick out the plants that you like, start shoving in pots, stand back. I like that. You know, we can help you a little guidance. This is like potato vine, which will grow down the sides, and make sure you're putting it in the right area so it's going to be successful for you. Good potting soil, a little bit of water, a little bit of fertilizer, and you're just going to enjoy this all season long. There's so much fun around the pool, around the deck, anywhere you can think of. Just, man, I'd really like to have some fun color. And the best part of this is you can experiment. If you don't like the way it looked this year, do something totally different next year, okay? It's so much fun to play around with the container gardens, and we really encourage folks to really get involved, get their hands dirty, and start playing with them.
You know, I've learned so much already, but I know we're not done yet.
Not quite. Almost, but not quite. So once you've got all your plants in the ground and you're really happy with the way everything looks, you've got your evergreens, you've got your flowering shrubs, you've got a tree, you've got some color shrubs, you've got perennials, you've got annuals, all those things we talked about. Now you've got that bed there. Remember we talked earlier about weed control. So you put your weed control down, you put down your weed fabric, or you put down your preen, and now you want to finish with a nice quality mulch. So whether it's a wood fiber mulch, like a shredded hardwood bark, it could be a product that's dyed like a black or a brown, it could be a natural product, or you can put the stone mulch down. But you're going to put your mulch down, that's going to finish off the whole product. Now the only other thing I wanted to mention was watering is always an important part of what you're doing in your garden. This is a great solution to help you out with watering. This is soaker hose, and this gets laid in the bed and gets connected to the end of a spigot or another hose, and so this can water whenever you turn the spigot on without you standing there, and it just weeps into the ground. So this you want to put underneath the mulch. Okay, so you hide that, but that's a great way to do that. And that's it, it's really that simple. The only thing left at that point is a little serendipity. And so there's always little things, people want to personalize their gardens, so you can do it with little trinkets or bird bats or garden ornaments of some sort. So we always have lots of those to choose from too.
Well, I hope we gave you a lot of information so that you want to get started and get your hands dirty.
Okay, so now it's your turn. Get your pictures, your ideas, your thoughts together. Come on down to the Garden Center, speak with some of our staff. We'd love to help you out here. We're located right here on Route 209 in Broadensville.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, right here. Oh, my eyes are
What was I saying again? Wait, what did I just say in the beginning?
It'll come to you. Getting planted.
Now you gotta fix it.
There, get the debris out. You gotta get the knots out of your hair.
That's a classic.